from 2 games to book their place. All eyes will be on Durham's Riverside rink on Sunday when they play Solihull Barons, the team they were involved with in a major brawl down in the Midlands last week. 2 of the Wasps players, Anthony Payne and Damien Smith, have 3-match bans as a result. Well, these are the weekend fixtures. Tomorrow, Wasps play Ayr and Warriors play Merrifield, while on Sunday, the Warriors go to Cardiff, and of course, the Wasps have the Solihull game. There's been ill feeling between the Wasps and the Barons all season, and once the Wasps had effectively put the game beyond Solihull last weekend, tempers began to fray and the game deteriorated. Just over a minute from the end, full-scale war broke out.
It certainly got out of hand, there was no doubt about it. Ice hockey is a tough sport, you know, and you expect to get fisticuffs from time to time. But in the light of what happened last week, it was just a disgrace, to be quite frank. And it was pretty surprising that, it didn't take place before the last minute of the game, because we were intimidated right throughout the course of the game, in the warm-up, in the intervals. And Mike Blaisdell was just goaded by their players right throughout the course of the game, and he didn't become involved. And like I say, it was a disgrace.
Has it damaged the game, do you think?
I don't know if damage has got the game a lot of publicity, but like you say, I mean, it's a lot of bad publicity. As long as we keep portraying it here as a family sport at Durham, that's what it is. And I don't think we'll be seeing scenes like that in ice hockey for a long time to come.
Face off at Durham 6:30, the glove.
First playoff game between these 2 teams never went the distance. The referee might have stopped the rematch early to save Solihull unnecessary punishment. Rick Brabant landed the first blow, and Barons were on the ropes from then on. Mike Blaisdell was the star man on the night. It didn't take him long to appear on the score sheet. He was to go nap-handed. But the bad feeling didn't remain beneath the surface completely. 12 minutes into the game, and Solihull's import Brent Sapergia is thrown out of the game on a deliberate attempt to injure penalty. They have a way of describing events in ice hockey. It was a last body blow to Barron's hopes of a shock. By the end of the first period, defenceman Mike O'Connor had chipped in as well. Wasps were 7-2 ahead. After that, it was a procession. 3 goals inside the first minute of the middle period, but Blaisdell rounded off 20 minutes of hammering. 15-4 by then. Durham did calm down for the third period. It was Blaisdell who insisted on the last word. 26 the final score. Good shooting practice for Wembley.
Joe Tobin has joined us now for a recap of today's news.
With the final, always one of the noisiest occasions of the year, that's in Sunday Grandstand. Well, semi-final lineup, Peterborough against Cardiff and Murrayfield against a Durham side going for ice hockey's Grand Slam. The reporter is Charlotte Nichol.
The British ice hockey season reaches its climax this weekend, and the Durham Wasps intend to end it in style. They've already won the Premier Division and the Norwich Union Cup. On Sunday, they aim to line up for the grand final of the British Championship at Wembley. Last year's final was one of the most exciting matches the sport has ever seen. After an agonising penalty shootout in which an incredible 24 penalties were taken, the Cardiff Devils eventually beat the Murrayfield Racers. But this year, it's the Durham Wasps on the Wembley March. The historic city of Durham probably conjures up images of the cathedral, castle or university. But to many people living there, the ice rink, despite its ramshackle appearance, is the focal point. It was set up 50 years ago by the then Mayor of Durham, John Smith, when his ice factory went into decline with the advent of the refrigerator. And as Tom Smith remembers, his grandfather, who was nicknamed Icy, wasn't afraid to take on board a bit of dead wood.
After the war finished, there was obviously quite a lot of timber that had been on standby for making coffins, just in case of any major disaster, bombs hitting major areas. So obviously the joiners, undertakers, they had such a surplus, they wanted to get shot of it all, so my grandfather bought it and turned it into the seating in the rink.
Do the fans know this?
I think some of them do. In fact, if the team's having a bad night, they usually say, why don't you bury yourselves in this lot?
But no burying Durham this year. Under player coach Paul Smith, another member of the dynasty, the side has gone from strength to strength.
you don't have a big football team like Newcastle or Sunderland, and people have taken to the Wasps the same as the other teams respectively have taken to their football clubs. I think ice hockey has a little bit for everybody, whether it be the granny, the mother, the father or the child. You know, it's got the razzmatazz, it's got the showbiz side of it, it's got the rough stuff if people want to come along and see that, and it's got a lot of goals and a lot of technical skill, and I think it's got an attraction for, you know, for everybody.
It might only be classed as a minority sport in Britain, so why are the people of Durham so passionate about their ice hockey?
It's exciting. It gets the adrenaline going. If you have bother at work, you can come and let everything go and just let it all out.
Well, mainly because we can bring the whole family in. Never any problems. Plenty of excitement. It's like football used to be about 20 years ago.
Ice hockey prides itself on being a family sport, but recent scenes of violence on the ice will have done nothing to promote that image. Durham's playoff match at Solihull 2 weeks ago had to be abandoned with a minute to go after a huge brawl broke out, and it's referees like Nico Toman that have to pick up the debris.
If they want to get out of control, they're going out of control. If they want to play hockey, you don't have any troubles at all. And then everybody can blame the referee, but I don't think the referee was to blame at all last weekend. I think it was completely up to both teams, and I mean both teams. Not only one team, it was both teams.
And both teams were severely penalised as a result of the brawl. Solihull had 2 players banned, 1 until the end of the year, while the Wasps were without 2 key players for the rest of their playoff games. But despite that, they qualified for Wembley, the highlight of the season. Durham's Canadian import Mike Blaisdell has played with the elite in North America in the NHL, but even he's fired up for the big occasion.
We're going with the idea that we're going to win it, and anything less than that will be a big disappointment to us. Obviously, we're going to play two very tough games against 2 good hockey teams, and it's you know, nothing's going to be easy, but you know, we've been gearing all year for it, and now is our chance to show it.
And show it they did in their final playoff game against the Barons, winning by 20 goals to 6 and installing themselves as firm favourites to win at Wembley on Sunday.
Heineken finals at Wembley this weekend, coverage in Grandstand on Saturday and Grandstand on Sunday as well. And that's it.
Yes, this weekend at Wembley is the final piece in the jigsaw for Durham Wasps, who already have 3 of the 4 titles needed for this season's Grand Slam in the bag. A dozen coaches left the Riverside rink for London this morning, and more will follow when the big blue machine goes into battle for the British Championship. There's nothing like an early start on a long journey, and this was nothing like an early start. Hundreds of fans, many dressed for the occasion, couldn't wait to get on the road. But they had to, while Wasps forward Ivor Bennett went home for his baby's weekend survival kit, which he left on the mantelpiece. He was assisted by starman Rick Brabant, who gave him a lift. But he didn't need any help to hit the net against Solihull Barons last week, and the match had guaranteed the Wasps' place in the finals. Skipper Mike O'Connor also made the score sheet in that match, but he knows that tomorrow's semi-final against Murrayfield Racers will be the biggest test of the season.
The first match is obviously going to be the one to win. You know, if you don't win the first one, you can't get to the final, but I think as long as we get through tomorrow, we'll be fine.
The mass exodus proves that the Wasps have the best fans in the land, and their injury-prone coach knows why.
90% of the Durham team are Durham lads, and all the people who are travelling with us are from Durham, you know, so it's a great family atmosphere.
There was a doubt whether you'd actually get on the coach there, wasn't there?
Well, there was, but I don't feel too bad now. That's one of the less important things about going down to Wembley. We still have the team to go down there and lift the championship.
Import Mike Blaisdell knows all about the big time. He hit 5 against Solihull Barons on Sunday, much to the delight of his own personal fan club.
How's being camera shy.
Now football, and it's been revealed.
Finals of the Championship playoffs at Wembley. If they get through, then they'll be in the final on Sunday against either Peterborough or Cardiff. And if they win the final, then they'll become the first side to win the Grand Slam. That's all 3 domestic championships. It's not only football that's well supported in this region. They say the Wasps is the best supported ice hockey team in the country. And with scenes like these, who doubt that claim? More than a dozen coaches, packed with fans and the team, left for Wembley from the Riverside rink this morning. The atmosphere's already firing up the players.
Well, it makes you want to put on your equipment and play already, but unfortunately we don't play till tomorrow, so we just got to keep ourselves right and get ready for the game.
We're quietly confident. You know, we've had a good week of training, and you can see by the turnout today, the atmosphere is very good and spirits are high, so we're confident.
The Wasps play Murrayfield in the semi-finals, old rivals, and sure to be a cracking game. Certainly should be. If you can't get to Wembley, you can see the semi-final in Grandstand tomorrow, and the final, should they get there, in Sunday Grandstand.